Yo, what's going on, guys? So today, if you guys paid attention to the PAX release, basically Gearbox and Borderlands announced a ton of stuff. I was watching it with my chat today. We went back and analyzed the footage. We noticed some pretty cool details that I haven't seen people talking about yet, like some of the other content creators. So that's what we're going to be going over today. Real quick, before you get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want more Borderlands content just like this. Like the video, and I would appreciate it. Let's get straight into it. So like I said, they announced so many amazing things. 4th skill trees, a new DLC, and new game modes. Crossplay coming next year, next gen support for Borderlands, and also if you own Borderlands right now on console and you buy the next gen console, you're gonna get it for free, and all of your saves and progress is gonna transfer over. And some other cool stuff that I can't even think of off the top of my head, but like those other things literally blow my mind. Like I said, we're gonna analyze the footage because I actually caught some details about the action skills that I think a lot of other people didn't see. All right, okay, let's just 0.5 it. I'm assuming a lot of you have already seen it, so let's just go ahead and start getting into it. So this is Amara's new ability. We're not sure what it's called yet, but what I want you guys to notice is this. That looks like a freaking cryo explosion. So just saying, Amara's 4th skill tree, the action skill augment will probably be cryo. That really looks like a cryo explosion. Another thing worth mentioning is if you notice how she makes it happen, she pulls it up and then punches it. I don't know if that's just the animation of her doing it, or if this might be something like interactive, like she creates an elemental ball and then you can interact with it by actually punching it yourself, or maybe something with your action skill button. But like an interactive elemental skill for Amara would be insane. So Mose, this thing right here, this little beacon, I just want to say how freaking cool this is. I know she's about to put out her little iron cub or whatever, but like this little deployable beacon thing is just so cool. Like that's such a cool little thing she's holding in her hand. I just wanted to say that. And there is, now I guess we're calling it Iron Cub. It's going to be really interesting to see if this is the same power level as basically Auto Bear. Like this essentially looks like Auto Bear with a Rocketeer class mod on. Like she is just going to summon Iron Bear and it's going to go to work. It's going to be like a little companion, like a little pet. Just so cool. I'm really excited for this. But when it comes to Moses' skill, there's not really any secrets here. It just looks like a mini Iron Bear that walks around. Okay, now on to Zane's action skill. The first thing we're gonna say is yes, this is a cryo laser beam. Now, there is a good chance Zane is the quote-unquote cryo character, so there is a good chance that it does just shoot cryo, but I do also want to point out this could just be an augment. Zane's drone and even like Flack's racks both have cryo augments. There's no reason for us to necessarily believe right now that this isn't just an augment, you know what I mean? And now we're gonna point out something that, like I said, I haven't seen anyone else notice this, but watch what happens to the enemy that gets hit by this. If you noticed, he got dragged forward. He literally just got dragged forward. Let's rewind a bit. Here, I'll put it in even slower motion. Just pay attention to the guy that gets hit. He is, okay, I'm gonna mute it by the way. He literally gets dragged forward. So this shoulder cannon is gonna drag the enemies forward from what I can see. Now, not only will that be really cool for mobbing, but just being a single use action skill on Zane in general, and then maybe being able to loop that with Calm Cool Collected. Now, Calm Cool Collected is very notable for action skill uptime, and it does get out damaged by seeing dead with Good Misfortune. But the thing is, Calm Cool Collected can give you instant cooldowns, and that's a very important thing that I think we should definitely be mentioning. All right, next we're going to be talking about Flack's gravity snare. I believe it's called the gravity snare. Now, this is going to be the largest showcase of what we're talking about, and there was some things I noticed about this too that you guys do want to pay attention to. Now, with that being said, let's go over all of the stuff they show us for Flack, and like I said, I noticed some insane details of how exactly his action skill is going to work. Now, the first thing they show us is Warloader. Basically, this is the final form of Flack's loader bot, and this gives him increased fire rate. This is a pretty cool little thing. You guys can read it if you want to. We're going to keep going, though. All right, now the next thing they show us is the ion loader. This is the base version of this. This gives you elemental resistance. And this thing shoots out I'm pretty sure it's going to be like an ASMD. It shoots out an orb that you can then shoot, and it's going to create kind of a nova. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is how gravity snare works. And this is the detail I noticed that we will get to later in the footage. I'm going to be able to actually show you guys this. But basically, how this works is Flack tosses out a trap that knocks up enemies and temporarily stuns them. After deployed, the trap will periodically continue to knock them up and stun them for the full duration. So the full duration of this is 16 seconds. Essentially, this thing, once you throw it out, it's going to just go off multiple times during that 16 seconds. It's going to be a repeatable crowd control stun. It's going to do insane things with crowd control. Not only does this add huge survivability, this skill tree is also based on a lot of survivability. But the thing is, just using this action skill and even just going a little bit down this tree to get some of the augments, like, I don't even think you're going to necessarily need to fully go down this tree to make really good use out of this action skill. Just the same as other action skills in the past. You just want to get to certain augments. And one of those augments I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing in a little bit. So we're going to talk about that as well. Also worth noting that you can pick up your trap and end the action skill early and get some of your cooldown back. So that's really, really cool. It makes it very usable. Whenever they give us these options to end our action skills early, it's really good in my opinion. The next thing they show us is the bull loader. This is the second evolution of Flack's pet. Basically, it's one of those with the one of those loaders with the big shields. Its attack command is to bulldoze towards enemies and knock them up. It's kind of another really cool crowd control option that just seems really cool. But yeah, all right, this is the actual augment they showed us. I don't know if this was purposeful. You notice that that the cursor is like highlighted over this skill, but it was actually on the wide net. There was a delay before it switched over to the skill. So the wide net gives you increased duration and increased radius, which is very, very cool. And it's going to be very important when we go over that footage in a little bit. I'm kind of just going through this in order so that we don't miss anything. But yeah, there's some footage in a little bit that's going to show how often the gravity snare goes off, and I just think it's so cool. So next, like I said, they switched over to this skill. This skill right here is going to turn Flack's loader bot into an exploder when it goes into fight for your life, and it's going to reduce that respawn timer. So if your pet ever dies, it's actually going to turn into an exploder that basically novas in on an enemy, and then it's going to respawn a lot quicker too. The next skill we're looking at is Take This. Flack's pet gains a copy of Flack's shield. Now, the notable thing about this is that it is a tier 3 skill. Now, we are going to see a skill earlier that gives Flack and his pets increased shield capacity. I think Flack's pets are just going to have a shield. Definitely the loader bot. I'm not sure about his other pets, but I believe they're actually just going to add a base shield to Flack's pets, because otherwise, why would this skill be so far down the tree? And meanwhile, we have a capacity skill thing way higher in the tree. So what's interesting about this is that Flack's pets are probably just going to have a base shield from now on, like a normal shield with no effects. And then when you get this far down in the tree, you can give your freaking pet a Nova Burner, a Stinger Shield, some of the more insane shields in the game. I wonder if this could work with something like the Plus Ultra from the new DLC. Like, if your pet takes shield damage, will it reduce your cooldown? Like, how is this stuff going to work? There's going to be awesome new interactions, and we'll just have to see how it goes. Now, coming up right here, we are going to see how often that gravity snare goes off. So pay attention with me. Flack is basically going to throw his gravity snare, it's going to go off, and then some time is going to pass, and it's going to go off again. And we're basically going to get to see how often it does that. So he throws a snare, okay, so 43.56, maybe 43.55. It goes off, and then watch, it goes off again. 43.59, so about every 4 seconds. Maybe like, let's call it 3 to 5 seconds, give or take. Because I'm just using the YouTube timer. Oh, you guys can't actually see the YouTube timer. But it's about 4 seconds that this trap goes off. So with a duration of 16 seconds, if it goes off as it goes away, that's 4 times per action skill. And then there's that augment, which gives you more duration. There's Persistence Hunter, which is a skill in Blue Tree, which gives you more duration. If this thing is going off every 4 seconds, and we can get the duration of this thing up, like, to almost 30 seconds, I believe, if we combine the augment and Persistence Hunter, That is very, very cool. That is a lot of crowd control. That is like a ties that bind every 4 seconds that just picks the enemies up and drops them. Enemies are not going to be shooting at you. And I just think that's really cool. And it's a small detail that I haven't seen anyone else cover yet. The next skill, and this is what I was talking about. The next skill they show us is whenever Flack or their pets' shields break or is filled, them and their pets creates a radiation nova. Now, that's a cool effect or whatever. We'll have to see if it actually does damage on Mayhem 10. But this is the point I was making earlier. There are skills that interact with Flack's pets' shields before we get to this tier 3 skill. So I do believe that all of Flack's pets are just going to get a base shield. And we'll have to see if that really happens or not. Next, they show us Woolly Armor, which basically just gives your pet damage reduction. And I believe Flack's pets, honestly, are kind of tanky in Mayhem 10 now. I've played with Flack, and they do go down occasionally. Regardless, this is just like a 1 skill point thing. I can imagine most people will end up picking this up, but we'll have to see the rest of the skill tree. Then we've got Better Toys, another skill that has to do with Flack's pets' shields. Flack and his pets gain shield recharge delay and recharge rate. So what's really cool, like I said, is, yeah, I just think they're going to get a base shield. Like, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, the next skill we get to see is Fuzzy Math. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, this one, just on paper, looks absolutely broken. I would assume that this has an internal cooldown or like an internal re-trigger delay. Like, maybe you're only going to be able to trigger this with 1 crit at a time. At 5 points, this gives you 30% of your max shields restored per crit. Guys, this is Flack. He has Megavore and a Reflux. This honestly just sounds absolutely broken. Maybe it's not the way it plays out in game, but this literally just looks like if you spec into this skill and you're using Megavore or Fadeaway, you will never not have a shield. You will always, you know, we're going to abuse this with amp shields, of course, with Nova shields, Stinger shields even are very cool. And yeah, this just seems very, very crazy to me. I would not be surprised if this isn't exactly how it looks as we see it. And I just wanted to point that out. Next, we've got Keep Them Safe. Whenever Flack issues an attack command, if Flack or their pet's shield is less than half full, a portion of Flack's and their pet's shield are restored. This skill has a short cooldown. So with 5 points, it looks like you can restore up to 50% max shields as long as that keeps up with the amount of points you put into it. I'm just going to say this right now, and I'm going to let it keep playing because we are going to look at the capstone. This capstone, whenever Flack activates an action skill, they get double their shield capacity. This skill has a short cooldown, and Flack begins recharging their shields as well. I'm just going to say it right now. This is a lot of redundancy when it comes to shield skills. This skill that we looked at a second ago seems completely redundant with Fuzzy Math, I think this one was called. And same with this capstone. Like, if you're going to be able to keep your shields full infinitely, what's the point of getting double shield capacity besides to say, hey, look, I got a big shield? A lot of these skills seem very, very redundant. And we haven't actually seen any damage skills yet, except for this Nova and like the Exploder bot. But yeah, so I am kind of curious what the rest of Flack's skill tree looks like. I think the action skill more than anything is what really interests me. And I really honestly want to play with this action skill. It looks very, very cool. Now, with that being said, that is everything we can cover. You guys should check out the PAX event. Just go to Gearbox official YouTube. And they showed some very awesome, cool things during this event. It was really fun to watch with the chat today. Let me, like I said, like the video and subscribe to the channel if I showed you some awesome stuff that you didn't notice. There was some really cool stuff in there like Cryo, Amara. I'm pretty sure Amara's getting a Cryo augment. At least her new action skill was doing Cryo damage, but I don't know why it wouldn't be like the rest of her action skills where they are your action skill element. Zane's shoulder cannon thingy, that looks like it was pulling enemies forward, and that just seems very, very cool. And also the thing with the gravity snare where it's going off every 4 seconds. It's going to be a very, very strong crowd control skill. And anyways, guys, that is going to be it from me. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.